Good afternoon, everybody. Really pleased to welcome lots of people to this rather strange event, something that's new for all of us. I'm hoping that you can see me now. I won't stay on the screen the whole time. No one wants to see that, but I thought I'd introduce myself to begin with, and I'll introduce some more people as we go through. It's good to have quite a few of you here. I'm hoping a few more people will attend, but this is recording, so we will be putting this recording onto the website for people to look at if they do miss this event. Couple of housekeeping things just before we really get started. On your right somewhere, right of your screen, you should have a question and answer section. If you have a question at some point during the presentation, then please feel free to write it there. We've got lots of other people on the chat, other teachers and members of staff on the chat who will be watching that go through, and they'll see your questions even if you can't see them all, and then try and respond, or it may be something we respond to verbally, or it may be something we get back to you after the event, because it's something we don't, not necessarily to deal with for everybody. So, but we will see all your questions, even if it gets missed during the event. We will be able to look at those after the event, so we will get back to you. I have also asked if anyone just joining us, and I can see there are still people joining us, if in that question and answer section on the right, if you would just put your child's name, or children, I do think we've got some twins starting, then please put them there so that we've just got a bit of a register of who's been here, so we can try and share some of this information with people a different way who weren't here. So thank you again. I'll get going properly now. My name is Martin Curtis. I'm the head of school here at Somers Heath, and we are so proud of our school that it's such a shame we can't invite you in to come and see us again. I'm sure most of you came and saw us when we had our meetings earlier on in the year, before the application deadline, and you've applied for our school, so you must have liked what you saw. But we would love to show you again now, and we'd love to show you our reception classrooms. But times are very strange for all of us in lots of ways at the moment, and I'm sure you felt the effects of the COVID-19 lockdown as well. So we decided we really didn't want to risk having lots and lots of people into school, even on a sort of rotational basis. We could have kept the numbers small in sections, but we didn't want to risk having lots of people walking through the school at this time, which I'm sure you'll understand. So we decided to do this event. The other thing is our reception classrooms, we do have children in school, and our reception classrooms are being used, but they're not being used in the way we really want them. They're not currently set out the way we would like them to be set out. So we don't want you seeing that. We want to get it the way we want it to be for when your children to come in. So two reasons there why we have decided to stay online for this meeting, but hopefully we can get some of the information across to you, and we can reassure you about some things on here. Thank you for all the people who are asking questions. We will, and all the people who have given us your names. Someone's asked about PE lessons. We'll come on to that later. So I've talked about the question and answer section. Please put anything you like in there, and we shall move on. I apologise if things do go wrong today, by the way. This is the first time we've done something like this. I have a number of members of staff in different places, some of them in the building, some of them at their own home presenting this. So we're hoping the technical things will go with us. Okay, so as I said, thank you for choosing to send your child to Somers Heath. We really want to work with you and with your children to develop the children to reach their full potential. We really want to have a partnership with you. Our aims and the aims of the trust that we're part of, which is Catalyst Academies Trust, which is a small local trust but a very, very successful trust. Our aim is to give that excellent academic education to all children, no matter of their background or anything else going for them. And the Summers Heath motto fits in really well with that. It is to develop children to become successful learners, confident individuals and responsible citizens. Yeah, we're a school. Education is important, and I won't apologise for having a focus on the academic. But we also realise that how about the whole child, and it is more than just the academics. It is about developing those children to become successful in whatever they choose to do and in their journey through education, and just as good people and good members of society. And we can only do that if we work with you. So we really encourage that partnership. And I know Mr. Craven, I'm going to introduce him in a moment, is really keen on building that partnership with you. So that's what we're all about. I hope you got a feel for that when you came to the school to look around, and I hope you get that impression when we work with you in September. So, introductions. Let's start off with some introductions. So let's sorry, I'm just doing a little bit of technical stuff here. I'm just going to take my face off the screen and just move to this as a whole now. So we have two classes. So we're a two-form entry school, which means we have two classes of 30 in reception. And so we have two class teachers. Mrs. Dyer has been with us for since January. She has worked in two other schools in Catalyst Academies Trust, so she is very experienced. If you know the school, you know that up to now she has been a part-time member of staff, but she is from September going to be a full-time member of staff, which we're really pleased about. I will let her say something in a moment, but I'll just introduce Mr. Craven. Mr. Craven is our new EYFS Early Years Foundation Stage lead teacher. He's been with us since April, since Easter, but obviously slightly strange start to his time with us because the school has been partially closed for that whole period, but he is currently in class with a bubble of children, and I think he's really enjoying himself, and I know from feedback from the parents that the children are really enjoying themselves in his classroom. So I don't know if Miss Dyer and Mr. Craven, if you would like to just introduce yourselves and turn your microphones on. Mrs. Dyer.
Hello there, I'm Mrs. Dyer. Like Mr. Curtis said, I'm one of the reception teachers. I'm really looking forward to September and meeting everybody. So, hello, that's me.
Thank you. And Mr. Craven, you're going to be hearing a bit more from him in a minute, but I'll let him introduce himself.
Hello everybody, I'm Mr. Craven, one of the reception teachers. I'm so looking forward to starting properly at Summers Heath from September, and I can't wait to see you all very soon.
Thank you both. So they're obviously your main point of contact during the day. We will have a number of support staff in the classrooms with them. Unfortunately, because of the uncertainties with COVID and exactly what September is going to look like, and we are still waiting for the government guidance, so we are holding fire on some of our plans for September. We're not exactly sure who that's going to be yet and how that's going to be arranged, but there will be other members of staff in the reception classrooms with them. So and you will meet those in due course. I was going to say something else then about classrooms, and it's popped out of my head. It was always going to happen, wasn't it? I was going to forget something. I'll introduce you to the rest of the team. So we have, you can't see them at the moment, but we have a team behind the camera today. Lots of people watching and listening, and they were all really pleased when I said I was going to put their photographs up. So some of these, if you're familiar with the school and you've had siblings go through the school, then you will know lots of these faces and these people because they've all been with the school a number of years, some longer than others, Miss Tookie. So you will recognise Mrs. McKenna is our inclusion manager, who you may have come across. So hello, Mrs. McKenna. Say hello, Mrs. McKenna.
Sorry, had to unmute myself.
And Mrs. McKenna has some exciting news, which is that she is. Would you like to say, Mrs. McKenna?
I'm expecting a baby.
Congratulations, Mrs. McKenna. We're all very pleased with Mrs. McKenna, but that has obviously meant that we need some cover for Mrs. McKenna while she is on her maternity leave. So to cover Mrs. McKenna, we have Mrs. Saunders, who is another familiar face, who's been working for the school a while, has recently herself, well, about a year or so ago, returned from maternity leave. But she's going to be covering some of Mrs. McKenna's inclusion duties, so you may well come across her during your time here. Mrs. Saunders?
Hello.
Thank you. Next, I'll just go across the picture as it is. Mrs. Reagan isn't actually on the line. She's watching though, so she will be feeling embarrassed because she doesn't like being in the public eye in this way. But Mrs. McKenna is our family support worker. Mrs. McKenna, Mrs. Reagan is our family support worker, and she works very closely with Mrs. McKenna and Mrs. Saunders, and she will be someone that you may talk to, may see. If you do need anything, you can always make an appointment to see her if you feel you need some extra support in some way. So Mrs. Reagan is an important person. Mrs. Tookie, as I mentioned before, has been at the school for a number of years and very experienced, knows the school inside out, and she is the head of Key Stage 1 and so has a bit of an oversight of EYFS at his foundation stage as well, and will be working closely with Mr. Craven because obviously he's new to the school. Ms. Tookie, would you like to say hello?
Hello everyone, excited about the new term. We don't know what will happen yet, but we'll be doing it together.
Absolutely, thank you, Mrs. Tookie. And then finally, but by no means least, Mrs. Ayers is someone, if you have ever been to our school office, which most of you I'm sure will have been, you will have met Mrs. Ayers. She is incredibly efficient and has the answer to most questions that we need answering, and she hasn't got the answer, she'll usually find it out pretty quickly for us. So Mrs. Ayers, would you like to say hello?
Hello everyone, nice to not see you but see you.
Absolutely, it is rather strange that we can't see you but we're talking to you, but she will be talking a little bit later on about some of the admin things that she needs to say. Okay, so we'll push on to Mr. Craven's slides, and I will chip back in later. I just need to say sorry, and I apologise if this isn't quite as smooth as we'd hope it to be, because we're not all together. Mr. Craven, if I don't move the slide forward quickly enough for you, can you just mention my name and I will do it quickly. So I will speak to you all again in a little while. I'll hand over to Mr. Craven. Thank you.
Hi there, everybody again. So hopefully in the next few slides, I will be able to answer all of your questions for helping your children get ready for September and what the year in reception will look like. So if we start with preparing for school, over the summer holidays, you can help your children to start school in September. So these are the key skills that we ask for you to ensure that your children can do independently. If there's anything on this list that your child is unable to do, you can send a message in the Q&A chat and we'll be able to give you some support and tips. We would also recommend that during the holiday, your child experiences time away from you, whether it's in the daytime or night. They could stay at a friend's house or relatives. This helps children to learn that even though you are away, you'll be back soon. So what does a day in reception look like? So a day in reception is filled with exciting and engaging learning opportunities. These help your children to develop key skills and knowledge. So each day will start on the carpet with a short input from the class teacher. This might be linked to a story that we'll be learning about, as well as explaining the activities within the classroom environment. Children will spend most of the morning choosing their learning within the classroom. This might be building in the construction area, writing, playing a maths game. The morning will end with a quick phonics session, followed by lunch. The afternoon structure is very similar, with maths-based learning on the carpet to begin. Each day will include singing and story time, as these are proven methods to help support children's speech and vocabulary. During the week, children will also be given the opportunity to learn about music, the world around them, as well as their personal, social, emotional development. And of course, they will have 2 PE lessons, one inside and one outside. So just to carry on what we will learn, this is our curriculum that we follow. We use development matters, which covers 7 main areas of development. So each day, adults will plan for the children to experience learning in all these areas of the curriculum. Many activities planned will join together areas of learning so that children can practice as many skills as they can. An example of this might be when children are learning with the train tracks. First, they might use their literacy and art skills to design the layout, considering what shapes they might use with their math skills. Children might then work in pairs or small groups to see their plan come to life. And this, of course, will need their communication skills as well as social skills. So what will we learn in the year? During the year, reception children will learn about one topic every half term. The children's introduction to a topic will start with a wow moment to engage the children. This could be a dress-up day or a visit from a hero. The topic will end with a big finish, which could be a concert or a bike ride. To prepare for the first topic, you may wish to discuss with your children information about the family. So at Summers Heath, we use an online system to take observations of the children. This is so that there is a record of the children's learning in all areas of the curriculum, such as their speaking tasks or construction tasks. We will simply take a picture of your child with our school iPads. We will type what they did and what they said, and we will link it to areas of the curriculum. We will then click Parent Share, and you will be able to see this on the Tapestry app or on your internet browser. During the first parent workshop, we will be able to support you to use Tapestry at home. Next slide, Miss Tucky, when you're ready. So, homework and reading packs. So the children will be given a reading pack, and this will include, excuse me, a reading record, a reading book, as well as a list of high frequency words to learn. We will change the reading books weekly at school because in reception, we feel that repetition is important for children's reading development. We encourage you to read with your child every day. And this could be just before bed, as it shouldn't take too long as the books are only short. Children will also get the opportunity to read with an adult in school. So for homework, in reception, we set weekly homework tasks that are linked to the topic of learning. This might be to practice their name at the start of the year, or counting how many steps from the bedroom to the kitchen. Children will be able to record their answers in a homework book. And finally, this year we are excited to introduce 6 parent workshops, followed by 6 stay and learn sessions throughout the year. So you are all invited to see how we teach key lessons such as early maths and phonics, as well as a great end to the year with a sponsored bike ride. We feel that the parent-teacher partnership is a key part of children's development, and we will always be there to support or advise or just have a chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Craven. Thank you for going through all of that with us. Let me just take you off the screen. So thanks for all that information. That's really helpful. And the way I think our reception has run in the past, it's been very friendly, it's been very open and very welcoming, and we really want to continue that. And I know Mr. Craven is especially keen to work with you and get all that get that partnership really working with you all. But we also, you know, we are changing things. We have had a change of staff in reception, and I think things will develop maybe in a slightly different way over the course of the year than it may have done if you've had other children in reception in the past. Okay, Mrs. Ayers is going to talk to us about school uniform and a couple of other things. So Mrs. Ayers, would you like to just go ahead? So we've got the links here and everything on here about uniform wise.
Okay, so all our uniform comes from a company called Uniform Wise. They have got an online system you can purchase, or they do have a shop in Stampley Hope where you can visit. At the moment, they're running appointment-based systems due to the current situation. So make sure they've got a Facebook page, they've got phone numbers, emails. Get in touch with them before you visit and book yourself an appointment. They are completely au fait with all of our uniforms. They know exactly what your child needs to wear. So don't stress if you're not sure 100%. The ladies at Uniform Wise know exactly what we ask the children to wear. On the next slide, you'll see it. It's basically very simple of grey trousers or skirts, and then a white polo shirt and a navy blue sweatshirt or jumper. Sweatshirt or cardigan. The only black school shoes, proper shoes, not trainers. The only thing we do ask is that you buy your child a book bag rather than a rucksack, because rucksacks just take up far too much room in the cloakrooms, and it's a lot easier for the teachers to get into book bags as well. So if you can buy your child a book bag, Uniform Wise do them. They can personalise them as well with your child's name, so you don't need to worry about labelling it all. That would be great. So if we can go on to the next one, you can see what the uniform is. That's it. So there you go. That's exactly what they need. It's quite simple. Just a polo shirt, not a proper shirt at the moment, because they do struggle to do their buttons up sometimes. So just simple things that they can get on and off easily, please.
And Mrs. Ayers, I would just add to that in terms of the shoes. Yes, we do ask for proper school shoes, as Mrs. Ayers said. But if they are not able to tie their own shoelaces when they start school, then we suggest you go for a Velcro strap, because they will be needing to get changed for PE themselves. One of the parents did ask a question about PE, and the children will be doing PE lessons, some of those with our sports coach, from the start of term, so getting changed is quite an important part of that. Next slide, Mrs. Ayers.
Oh, no, that's it. So that is the PE kit that we was going to go on to. The children do have PE on a set day every week. That will be on the classroom window when you start. The PE kit stays in school for every half term. So they need to be in a named bag because it sits on your child's peg until it's needed. So once again, the PE kit is really quite simple. White t-shirt, blue shorts, and then plimsolls. Plimsolls rather than trainers because they're in the hall. But if you've only got trainers, then that's fine for like when they're out in the winter. And then as you can see, they can have jogging bottoms and something a little bit warmer to wear. Most PE lessons do take place outside if it's not raining. So perhaps buying the jogging bottoms would be a good idea when they start because they will be outside for PE. Also, it's got on there that there is no jewellery to be worn for PE, including earrings. We can't even take the earrings up because they're too much for health and safety risks. So if your child does have earrings, please just make sure they're taken out on PE days. So yeah, that's the PE kit. Now school dinners. So your child is entitled to a free school meal. That's part of the government's universal free school meal scheme. So from reception up until the end of year 2, you will not at the moment have to pay for a school dinner. So if your child wants to have a hot dinner at lunchtime, they can do so free of charge every day. The school dinner menus are done on a 3-week weekly rota. They have 2 colours to choose from every day, a red and a green option. So hopefully there's something there that they like. The menu's still just being finalised at the moment. So once that's all done, we'll get that emailed out to you, just so that you can look through it and see what your child does and doesn't like and help them make their decision. Because they will have to tell their teacher in the morning what colour dinner they're going to have. Although your child's entitled to their universal free school meals, if you're on certain benefits, you can also help the school out with some extra funding. You can apply for benefits related free school meals for us. As you can see on the screen, everyone who receives benefit related free school meals gives us an extra £1,300 worth of funding. And as you all know, funding for schools is being cut left, right and centre. So this money really does help us. And if you are able to apply for it for us, it will be for the benefit to your child and other children that attend the school. There's a link on there of how to apply. It's really simple. You just go on with your Thurrock Council log-on details. Like when you applied for their school place, it's exactly the same. Your Thurrock Council log-on details, you put in their name, their date of birth, choose Somers Heath for your school, and then they just ask for your national insurance number, and that's how it's done. It's worked out on your national insurance number, whether you're entitled or not. It should give you an answer straight away, and then they'll contact me to let me know whether you're entitled or not. So really, it doesn't really affect you too much at the moment from reception to year 2, but once you hit year 3, if you're still entitled to it, you will still not have to pay for your school dinners. So it's worth doing it because at the moment they're protecting it. So if you're entitled to it now, you're never going to lose it. So we just encourage everyone to go on and try for us. It really does help us out. So if we go on to the next slide, please. So there you go. That just tells you about the free weekly rota. And then packed lunches. If your child doesn't like anything on the menu, then it's absolutely fine for you to send your child in with a packed lunch. But we do really have to stress that we are a fish and nut free school. We have children in school with allergies and quite serious allergies. So you will see from our school dinner menu, we don't have any fish. Most schools have fish on a Friday. Unfortunately, we don't because of these allergies. So we just please ask to be mindful of those children and not to include fish or nuts in their packed lunches, please. There's certain chocolate spreads that do contain nuts and there's certain chocolate spreads that don't. So just have a look at what ones you're buying and make sure you buy the nut-free ones. We're all getting quite on top of what does and doesn't have nuts now. So I'm sure if you ask someone, they might be able to let you know which ones to purchase. Okay, that's me done on dinners.
Thank you, Mrs. Ayers. That's really helpful. I hope that's been helpful. There are some questions popping up. I would just say before I move on to Mrs. McKenna, if your question relates directly to your child, then we won't publish it for everyone to see. If it's a general question about PE kits or something, then we will publish it so that everyone can see it, because it may well be helpful for them. It may well answer their question that they've got in their head as well. Okay, so we're going to move on to attendance. For attendance, we're going to introduce again Mrs. McKenna, because that inclusion role, we do have an oversight for attendance as well. So Mrs. McKenna, would you like to talk us through attendance?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Curtis. So attendance. Attendance at Summer's Heath, we feel, is a key component to ensuring that children are successful learners. So going home on your first day of school will be a parent guide to attendance, and it will go through in more detail what I'm going to be explaining. There are a couple of things I'm not going to explain just because of the time restraints, but everything will be detailed in that parent booklet for you. But just a couple of key things to run through. Lateness, so school begins at 8:45. We call it a soft start, so they can come in anywhere between 8:45 and 8:55. Past 8:55 though, they'll have to go through the reception and they will be given a late mic, so just bear that in mind. Absences, Mrs. Ayers and the other office staff ask that if your child, because unfortunately they may well become unwell and unable to attend school, we ask that you call the school office before 9:30 on the first day of that absence, and just inform the office staff that your child won't be in, what class they're in, and the reasons for the absence. We ask that medical appointments are booked wherever possible outside of school hours. However, we appreciate that sometimes some appointments can't be made outside of school hours. So all we ask is that you bring the appointment letter or card, or sometimes it's even a text message, bring that into the office, and there's just a short form to fill out letting us know when you're going to collect and when the child is coming back if it's a morning appointment. Term time holidays, schools, I'm sure you're aware, we're not allowed to authorise or Mr. Curtis isn't allowed to authorise term time holidays. Therefore, these absences are considered unauthorised. If you do decide to take your child on a term time holiday, or absence of anything else that's not an illness, such as a wedding, for example, you'll need to complete a form that can be collected from the school office again before your child's absent, and that goes straight to Mr. Curtis, who will sign it off and tell you 9 times out of 10 it will be unauthorised, but he'll let you know that it's unauthorised, and it details some of the things regarding fines and things like that should it hit that criteria. And the last thing, just for you to be aware of, we do attendance reviews. They're done by Mrs. Reagan in the office and overseen by myself. That's every 3 weeks, and we follow what's called a staged procedure, so stage 1, stage 2, all the way up to stage 3 and beyond. It's all set out within our attendance policy, which can be found on the website, but there's more information coming out, as I said, in that parent guide with regards to attendance. Thank you. That's all I have to say on attendance, Mr. Curtis. Okay, so moving on to the main chunk of my role, which is sort of the SENCO side of things. So you may have a child with additional needs, and we may already be aware of that. So this just details within that role what I might need to do, or what if you need to come and speak to me about a child with additional needs, just goes through some of the things that may well happen. We appreciate that some children, as they journey through the school, they may then have some additional needs that I might get involved with, or it might be just with the class teacher and we might have a conversation. Sometimes we need to do some referrals to say your child's got a speech and language difficulty, for example, that's raised through the class teacher. It may well be that I need to do a referral to a community speech and language therapist, for example. It may well be that your child's got additional needs and we need to set more formal targets, but all of these things are done in liaison with yourself. The most important thing to bear in mind is if you have any concerns yourself, then get in contact with the class teacher, and then they will speak with me or Mrs. Saunders, as it will be when I'm not there. And then it may well be that we book an appointment for you to come in and we can talk about any challenges that your child's facing. I'd just like to make the point that if you've raised on your, there were some forms you needed to fill out. If you've raised that your child does have some additional needs, I will be giving you a phone call very shortly to run through some of those needs and talk with you about transition for your child. So please don't worry or be alarmed if I give you a call. It's just to run through some of those arrangements for when they start school. Equally, if you've got any concerns that you want to raise with me, you can use you can ring up the office and they will contact me and I'll give you a call, or you can email the school and I will be able to give you a call back. So that's mainly my section. Within the inclusion team, there's also, as we said, the lovely Mrs. Reagan, who's our family support worker. She mainly deals with some low-level difficulties, maybe at home or at school. You know, as children progress through school, they may come into some difficulties at home. They may have some difficulties at school. We hope not, but sometimes it happens. So she can support with referrals or meetings with your child and yourself, or just talk through with your child their thoughts and feelings if they're particularly anxious about something. She's a fab go-to if you've just got a few little concerns and you can talk them through with her. Very lovely lady. So that's Mrs. Reagan. We're also very fortunate at Summers to have a counsellor one day a week. Her name's Miss Dunn, or Alice Dunn. And we also have a play therapist once a week called Mrs. Walker, Mrs. Stephanie Walker, who work closely with myself and the other members in the team. They are timetabled, so they support children that we've raised with social and emotional difficulties. But it's just important to note that we have a lot of these agencies working with us and other professionals as part of that team. Hopefully I didn't talk too fast.
Sorry, Mrs. McKenna, I couldn't click the buttons quickly enough. Thank you, Mrs. McKenna. Really appreciate that. Mrs. Ayers, did you want to come back in on this last slide before we finish off? You haven't opened your microphone, Mrs. Ayers.
Hold on a second.
There we go. No, that's it. You're on.
See,
thank you.
You knew one would have to mess it up. Right,
fine.
So if you haven't already completed the online form that was sent out to you on the letters, the emails we've been sending, can I please ask you to complete it as soon as possible? I know it says it closes on the 26th, but it is still open. That information will help us out a lot, ready to get your child on our systems for ready when they start. If you haven't got the link, just drop me an email and I can get all these sent to you. There's obviously still some paperwork that actually needs completing. We can't do everything online. So what I'm going to do is make you up packs so that on the first day your child starts, they'll bring home all their paperwork, and I just ask you to complete it and send it back to me, please, just so that we've got everything we need. Unfortunately, I will chase you for it because I have to have it. We also need to see a copy of your child's birth certificate. So if you can just pop that into the office for me when we are back open and fully working, I'll just take a quick photocopy of that so that we've got it in their file. Right, medical, I deal with also all your child's medical conditions as well. So if there is a long-term medical condition that means they have to have medicine in school, can you drop me an email so that I know, so that I can set you up a healthcare plan and we can get everything in motion so that they can have their medication at school. This does include asthma pumps as well. No child is to have their own medication on them, so it has to come to us and we keep it in the medical cupboard. So that's the main thing. And also we can't give antibiotics, Calpol, Nurofen, anything like that. We're not allowed. So if your child does need any of those at any point, then just let the class teacher know, or come and tell me or Mrs. Barnes in the office, and you're more than welcome to come up to school at whatever time they need it and administer it to them. Sorry, that's just something we can't do, but we're more than welcome to help you give it to them at the time that you need, if you can come up and give it to them. I think that's me done. So.
Thank you, Mrs. Ayers, again. Sorry, I'm busily tapping away, typing some answers to people's questions. I will just go through a couple of them for everybody. Someone has asked about Breakfast Club. Yes, we do run a Breakfast Club. It starts at 7:45 in the mornings, and it is, I can't remember the price off the top of my head. I think it works out about £3 a session or something like that, £3 to £4 a session, but we haven't put the details of that together for next year yet because of the uncertainty around the COVID-19 situation and waiting for the government guidance. So as soon as we have that, we will share information with you about the Breakfast Club. There's been other questions about uniform which I have published, so you can see the answers to that. Some questions about free flow classrooms and things, which is really interesting that you're asking those questions, and really nice that you really want to get involved with the children's learning and how we manage that. So I know Mr. Craven and Mrs. Dyer are typing some responses to those for you. If there's other questions, as I say, that we haven't answered, it may well be that we get back in touch with you directly. And that's the other thing I wanted to mention to you now, really. So over the next 2 weeks, Mr. Craven and Mrs. Dyer will be contacting you directly with either a phone call or possibly a video meeting, depending on what you can manage and what technology you've got access to at home, so that we can meet the children and meet yourselves and have a bit more of a one-to-one conversation. We're not talking about ages. It would be sort of a 10 to 15 minute conversation where the teachers will just meet the children and talk to them, and they can maybe find out a bit of their likes and dislikes and talk to you about any worries you think they might have for September. So look out in your emails and things in the next day or two, as we'll be sending out some appointment times for that. We'll try and put appointment times, a variety of appointment times maybe, but if you can't do the time that we've given you, then let us know and we'll see if we can move that to another day, but we'll word that email for you and give you the opportunity to respond with that. Other than that, I would like to thank everyone for being on here. So it's been about 3/4 of an hour. I think that's plenty of time to be staring at the screen. If you do have any other questions, you can always email us. Our email address is admin.shps@catrust.org.uk. So please email us. Mrs. Ayers picks those up and she will forward them to the relevant member of staff if you need to speak to Mrs. McKenna or Mrs. Reagan or one of the class teachers. Mr. Craven also talked about Tapestry, so once you're here and we've got you all signed up for Tapestry, then you'll be able to make contact with the class teachers through that system as well. Okay, I'll just have a quick scroll down the questions, see if there's anything popped up at the bottom. Yeah, someone talking about access to water bottles and fruit throughout the day. Yes, we do have snack times. Mr. Craven, could you tell us something about snack?
Hi there. So we will be able to provide cups of water and some fruit each day for the children. So we will have a rolling snack where the children can choose their snack throughout the day when they want it. Children are also encouraged to bring their own water bottle if they like, and they can keep it in the classroom all in one place. Thanks.
Yeah, perfect. So that's really helpful. And someone's just put, someone else asked this, I'm not sure, do we have a definite start date yet? Our plan is for, in the normal world, we would have everyone in on Thursday, the 3rd of September. That would be our normal plan. I won't 100% guarantee that because we are waiting for the government guidance on how we are to organise things in September, but it's, as I say, that would be our plan at the moment, that we would all be in on Thursday the 3rd of September. If that changes, we will let you know as soon as we know, but the government guidance was meant to be issued last week, and we are still waiting for it, so we will then read it through and digest it and work out how to apply that at our school. But yes, Thursday the 3rd of September is our planned start date, and it will be maybe slightly different to how it's been in the past. It will be all children in all day from the first day, and unless you've got some specific additional needs, which Miss McKenna will talk to you about, and we think that we need to stagger that in some way. Our aim is to get everybody in from the beginning, so that we get them used to that routine. And you know, it is a change for them, but I think it's sometimes the stagger can cause more upset. Right, I'm going to leave it there because I think we've all been online long enough. Thank you very much for attending, and as I say, email us if you have any further questions. If you've written a question and we haven't replied to you, then Mr. Craven or Mrs. Dyer may directly answer that in your one-to-one meeting. Or if it's something more administrative, then Mrs. Ayers may well email you directly, and we'll deal with it that way. Okay, thank you once again, and thank you to all the staff who've helped out with this. Obviously, it's a slightly strange situation. I appreciate everyone contributing, and we look forward to working with you in September. Thank you.